and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll say it right now that if anybody else wants to do the invocation, that would be fine with me, and they can let me know before or during or right before, or I don't know when, I don't care. But I do have some feelings about religion in public meetings, so I can talk to you about that, but nothing too out of the way. I think anyone will be offended. Roll call.
Catherine D'Angelo. Here. Darrell Ibach.
Here.
Lily Jean Johnson. Here. Marvin King.
Here.
Elijah Method. Sarah Pope. Here. Bernie Silverman.
Here.
Swig.
Here.
Brenda Wallace.
We have a quorum. Approval of the agenda, and Ryan invited you to make changes at this point, but if there are any changes to the agenda.
I just want people to know that, the agenda is the agenda, but if we miss something or there's something that you want to discuss, this is the time to put it on the agenda.
Are there any changes to the agenda? I'll take a motion to approve the agenda as written.
So approved, so notioned.
Take a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of the minutes. Take a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Second, any discussion on the approval of the minutes? Hearing none, seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The acknowledgement of visitors. Do we have any visitors online or with us? We have roofers on roof that shout down to us.
They're not.
Okay. And we have no public comment as well. Begin with service pack and turn it over to Dr. Quigg.
Yes, with the PAC committee, we have various things we want to discuss. Start with a review.
I have, technological, PowerPoint to kind of get us through the agenda. Just so I can stay on point here. And so Vanpool, I think there's a couple things that we want to talk about. First of all, we still have the same 5 Vanpools in operation. The 2 from Lake City that took over for the old PDRTA route. We've got one that comes from the Williamsburg County area going to Britton Resorts. Then we have 2 that go from the western part of the county, one from Conway, one from, or the northern part, one from Gallivan Ferry area, going to the,
Williamsburg correction.
Williamsburg, well, it's a federal penitentiary, up there in Williamsburg County, so they have, and so those 3 besides the 2 lake cities are using our normal subsidy, which is $700 a month, somewhere in that range. And then 2 from Lake City are completely covered by Coast RTA for the moment. We are working towards starting those folks on a fare, beginning October 1st. Whether or not we get there or not, remains to be seen. I've got to have a conversation with the enterprise and how we're moving through that. Our subsidy for those 2 buses, even after we implement fares, is still going to be higher than our policy. It's higher than the $700. However, we will move we're going to combine those 2 Vanpools into one 15-passenger van. As soon as a van becomes available. Right now, there's a huge recall in the industry, and so the manufacturers are slow on pumping out 15-passenger vans, or Ford is, I guess. And once that happens, then we will be very close to our subsidy. for that vehicle, because you'll be coordinating fares for 12 or 13 people instead of two vehicles with 6 or 7.
Where does that subsidy come from?
That's part of our budget. It's part of our, and we fund that through our normal, allocations from both urban and rural systems.
These van pools are supposed to be paid for partly by us, partly by the employer, and partly by the passenger.
And under normal circumstances, but in the Lake City, instance, that goes back to a more traditional type of van pool that doesn't have any employer subsidy in it. If you were in Atlanta, for instance, a van pool would be typically a white collar type of employee that's trying to get into the HOV lane and avoid some parking costs, and they're paying the full cost combined. They're paying the full cost of the van pool. Are less public subsidy. So there is no employer involvement, I guess is my point. So
Lake City has no employer involved.
no, it doesn't.
And the Gallivan's Fair and the correctional have no employee involvement. And no,
No, the Correctional Institute is paying a portion, those riders are paying a portion, and we're just paying our normal portion. Which is why I agreed to them.
that's not within our policy.
Well, technically, no.
No,
I
do we have a
I did
policy?
some research. We have a resolution, and that's the other side of this slide. And we probably need a policy. So we need to probably update the resolution with the policy. I do not have a policy written, but I do have some ideas on what it needs to include. And we really have two governing documents that original, go ahead and pull that up real quick. This was a very interesting read. If we look at the background, a lot of words up there.
Did we sign this?
We signed this in February of 23. And the primary focus of it was, remember Dr. Sheehan had some real reservations about, kind of what van pool meant and what it meant from us from a budgetary perspective, and really the concern of going over budget quickly. And I think those are still out there, but it says here that Coast RTA will be funding van pools at a fixed price per month. If I can't really highlight it. So it's in this area. Coast RTA will be funding van pools at a fixed price per month that originate in Horry and Georgetown counties, but may go to employment destinations within or outside of the service area, which is totally different than what our agreement with Enterprise went, because when we negotiated the Enterprise agreement, we were doing it sort of in concert with PDRTA, and we sort of made the call that the destinations had to be within our service area, not the residents. But back then I was thinking the exact opposite. I'm not even sure why. It's like,
It was new.
it was new. We were trying to set something up. So I think now we're at this point where, it can be either. I don't think PDRTA is going to be in the game anytime soon. And as long as we've got one end of the trip within our service area, we should be fine with it. Because we're either supporting local residents to get to jobs, or we're supporting local businesses to get employees to their place of employment.
This resolution doesn't mention the 7,200. It's governed by the $75,000 back then in the annual budget, which in every year since then, we
Right.
could up it, which we're gonna see later, I guess, a number close to $100,000 for FY 26 for van pools.
Well,
86,000 or something like
well,
that.
you approved that in the budget.
Yeah. There's like $86,000, right?
Yeah, 100, I think, is the FY 26 budget.
Yeah.
I'm going back to my
Well,
PowerPoint.
we don't have, we're not gonna approach that. Well, nice on the beach, aren't run them anymore. So we live, the only control the board has over that policy is we start bumping up against $100,000.
Right, and so these four bullets on the right side of the slide are kind of the central kind of idea behind what this policy needs to look like. One is you're approving a budget for Vanpool via the budget. You know, and we're gonna put a target number out there. Hopefully that target number is going to allow for some growth, you know, on an annual basis type of thing. But if I think we need to approve or exceed that budget, I will come back to the board for approval.
$7,200 is actually $9,600 a year, almost $10,000 per subsidy from us. We're gonna get 7,200 times 12 is 9,600, right?
Where's the 7,200 coming?
That was 700.
$720, excuse me, duh, yeah, 720.
So, yeah, I'm making it round 700. So
Yeah.
what is
We're
that?
gonna, well, eventually we're gonna start bumping that and we have to come back to us up.
Well, I think it would be a good thing in a way. I mean,
Oh, yeah, that wouldn't be bad.
that's what we want.
You know, the second thing would be allowing the origin or the destination in the service area, that one end of the trip is happening within our service area. Because there will, you know, whenever we talk about this, I think about Georgetown County and the potential for people going down towards the Charleston area for employment. Especially in light of the paper mill, laying off a bunch of people. So I think that is something that, you know, and as it turns out, we've got these van pools that are going to Williamsburg County. So I don't really see an issue with either one of the county councils having a problem with it. If we're sort of portraying it as, look, this is either helping our residents get to gainful employment, or we're helping an employer who's within the region, you know, get their employees. for us.
I still think you'll get, if it ever comes up, and I don't know if it ever will. And they actually, a harder time explaining to Williamsburg when you're one's going to the beach.
Yeah, probably.
Our resolution we already have covers this going on outside. It really doesn't say
Well,
we're.
resolution does.
No,
When they approve that budget, if they don't like it, they're gonna say, we're not gonna approve $100,000 line item for truck van pulls. That's how they get back.
I hope they wouldn't go after me from a line item to line item.
There was absolutely nothing yesterday when you briefed the budget.
Yeah, they were.
Sure. They were all shaking their head, yes, and, but that's how they get back to us. We may be covered as a board, but
that's what I'm.
if anybody had trouble with that, they start, once we start bumping up against 100,000.
But Dr. Twig, your point's well taken. It's like the policy actually is sort of looking more towards these Williamsburg ones than the one that's
Right.
going to Britain Resorts.
But we could write a policy that does what we need it to do.
And that's what I propose to do. We'll get out a policy for next month and we'll do a new resolution and sort of govern it. I think down the road, well, I mean, the subsidy limits for Vanpool are part of the agreement with Enterprise. But down the road, we need to really think about whether or not a turnkey versus a managed system makes some sense, because frankly, I have not been happy with Enterprise. It doesn't feel like a turnkey operation. They've had a ton of turnover. And so, I mean, the nice thing about it is, like, in the case of Lake City, they're gonna be the ones responsible for trying to track down those fares. And it's they being Enterprise. That to me feels like so staff intensive that I wouldn't wanna
Yeah, yeah.
push that at all. So, but I'm just thinking that, I'm just saying that it's out there and it's something we need to look at. But it would be so much nicer if we had 15 out there right now instead of 5. So, I mean, to me, that's the bigger.
But $100,000, you only put 11. If that's everybody, if we're limited to the $720, only 11 van pulls a year. But if we're talking about a couple of them right now, they're not even paying this. We're gonna get up against that number, but then in fact, is that something we want to do because it's good for the public?
Yeah, and I would say.
Explain
I
that.
would say yes. Yeah. I do think that we need to look for other avenues for funding for it. I think there's a good opportunity from a number of sources to do, state Department of Employment and Workforce, those places that we can get some more seed money down the road.
I'm really curious to see how it works when it's not a resort or a resort client.
McLeod,
Not.
we need that to pop, and I think, as I understand it, you were in the call last time, but the ball is in their court, it's in McLeod's court. They have an agreement. They have potential for some like 36 different van pools,
wouldn't even-
which campus you're looking at.
I wouldn't even want to have to try to map that because they're trying to do multiple campuses,
Right.
multiple shifts across 2 counties. Like my brain just stops.
That's an enterprise.
And that's Enterprise's problem.
Thursday, they're at one, and then the other day.
Sure.
But trying to map that and
Yeah,
like,
it's a mess.
it's, thank God that they have software allegedly that does that because my brain doesn't even process that way.
Adaptation is complicated too.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know half the time
Sure.
where you're going.
Well, and they've approached us about patient transportation too.
They
So
all- I think they all are interested in patient
Yeah,
transportation,
so that-
especially from the ED.
we'll see how that goes.
So right now, are we out of compliance with our current resolution?
I would say technically yes, but only because of the original ones. I mean, we had subsequent conversations before we started up Britain Resorts that was how all that was going to work.
Yeah,
And so I don't, I didn't think to go back and look, see what we actually said. We certainly haven't hit any budgetary marks. Yeah,
yeah. Well, I think you're right. We need to get a resolution that will work for us and will work for enterprise and will work for expansion of the
gives us
system.
some flexibility.
Yeah. So that's a plan for next month.
Yes. Anything else on Van Pool?
Thank you for that, though.
Want to talk entertainment shuttle?
I do, that's my favorite.
Because,
It's not running.
there's a lot of words on this slide. Yeah, it was shut down on September 1st, Labor Day. I think in general, we're going in the right direction. Still not really happy with the ridership numbers, so I made a point of putting comparisons from last summer to this summer. I also put numbers in here for Route 10 and Route 17, which are the fixed routes that run sort of adjacent to those two entertainment shuttles that we run. And it seems to me that North Myrtle Beach is popping. Both on 17 and the ridership, although these numbers, 2025, we'll just talk about North Myrtle Beach first. 9,000 up, ridership from summer of 24 to 25 went from 3,000 to 9,000, which is certainly a really good direction. But having 9,000, remember 2019 timeframe, the entertainment shuttle in Myrtle Beach did 70,000. So it's like a factor of 10 that we were kind of targeting. Now, maybe there was something about 19, that had an impact on it, but we want to get in at least the $20,000 to $30,000 range on both of these shuttles.
In passengers,
Sorry?
in 20,000 passengers.
Right, or more. Because it's an awful lot of service. If you look at your route stats page in the monthly report, the passengers per hour on these is in between 3 and 5 passengers per hour, which is, for that type of service in a small activity center, with that much movement and travel going around, it should be closer to 20 passengers per hour, to be honest. And so we really do have some things that we need to think about. I was very interested to see that ridership on Route 10 had declined. And that is something that we need to investigate. The ridership on the Myrtle Beach Entertainment Shuttle went up slightly. I think we need to look at the routing. I know we did a lot more on the marketing side. I'm not sure what else we can do on the marketing side, but we need to think about it if there is anything. Looking at the stats for hours and miles, it was relatively consistent service. We didn't have too many delays or missed trips or those types of things. There was a few, but that's just the nature of the business. I have not had a chance to look at the APC data. Remember, we have the automatic passenger counters out there. I think we do need to look to make sure that drivers are counting everybody. And so we can, we'll have that with the APCs. And that's true for every route. I also think we need to look and ask about what the overall tourism data looked like. I've kind of heard, that it was a little bit slower this year than last.
I also think that where our route goes is, when you were talking about a routing issue, I mean, I think we need to take a look at my suspicion is you take a look at the route in general. I'm not sure it's serving where the tourism centers are anymore. I think it's actually helping I think it's helping some of the workers.
Ones get around.
I think we're really supporting the workers really well in Myrtle Beach, but and I also think, not to hijack your thoughts, Brian, but, tourism was definitely down, especially in like the downtown areas. Along Ocean Boulevard, tourism was significantly down, and don't need to tell you why. I also think that Myrtle Beach, or North Myrtle Beach, was fantastic this year in Copart.
And how do you account for that, the difference? My God, what difference?
There just weren't people. There were not people on the streets, and I would love to get,
Well, because we are a family beach.
well, and I think that they really were very supportive in the marketing efforts. Like we split some of the digital marketing. So it was more affordable for both of us. And I was really relying on the chamber per se to help kind of in the same capacity. And I think that they had to do some troubleshooting, and some damage control for some of the things that had cropped off in terms of, just the national landscape of crime and the PR. They also had a lot of events in the beginning of the summer that took away a lot of their, like the golf classic. So I think their resources were focused on other things in other areas of the city. And I definitely think we have a signage issue in Myrtle Beach, between the fact that we just have old signs on Ocean Boulevard, from like, I don't even know how long ago. And we've talked about this. We just need to do like a whole sign program and get stuff out. I do think our signs are lost in Ocean Boulevard because there's just a lot of stuff. So I think those are different things, but I think if we take like the operations folks, and I'd love to get to pick their brains, stay here on the shuttle in Myrtle Beach, because I think it's just a different entity than it was in 2019 or 2019. The market has changed since then, since COVID. And I've talked to a lot of like, attractions folks, hotel people, restaurant folks in Myrtle Beach, and the visitor experience that they're seeing is totally different. It's a very, we think it would be consistent with what our entertainment shuttle would be, but like everybody's angry and
Coney Island,
doesn't seem to be, it just doesn't seem to be the same kind of, lack of a better word, vibe that it was in 2019. I think people they're not really clear on who they're marketing to. So the people that are coming are not really taking advantage of going to different places. I think that Broadway's become more of a destination. People are driving there but I see people standing on the street on 21st all the time. They're not waiting for the bus. So, I think that we have to focus on some more of the actual, like the tourism points have changed in Myrtle Beach, and I think we need to focus on that. They're not along our route anymore.
Do we have any way of figuring out the passenger subsidy for the entertainment shuttles? Because maybe we just need to revamp the whole system. I mean, if we're spending, I don't know how many dollars it would be on each passenger riding a shuttle bus.
But going back to the whole Ride 4 conversation, nobody cared about the fact that CoStar RTA's ability to take cars off the road really was predicated on entertainment shows, getting tourists off the road. And nobody really, that didn't really matter to anybody. And so we just kind of laid off of it. Given these numbers, I don't think we can justify the amount of service that we have out there. Now, but I'm pretty thick-headed and stubborn, and I want to try to keep trying to get it right. I don't know that we'll ever get back to our 2019 days. Just the fact of getting on a bus in the COVID era has scared a lot of people away. That's got to be part of it. But we do need to rethink everything.
also, we used to park your car and take the bus, and I don't hear that anymore.
Well, when
Well, I don't know where they're gonna park it,
maybe.
I used to tell people to park in Broadway at the beach.
Sure.
And you get on it there. I
Right.
tell people to come, you know, and,
Well, and we had vendors like Ripley's.
right.
They give us
They were proceeding for a
$150.
while.
You can park at the aquarium and then still go down to the museum. So,
If we took a number of like cost per hour per vehicle and multiplied it out for entertainment shuttle and divided by passengers,
It would be a big number.
yeah, and I'm not sure that it's, I mean, if that's the money we're spending, maybe we're better off using that money to move people who live here. And we're gonna get
Or
jobs.
handfuls.
We're vandals.
Or increased frequency.
I think
We're frequency.
what Lauren was saying is spot on. We need to go back and have frank conversations with both chambers, both cities. Talk about kind of what we're doing. You know, both of them are huge loops. Loops in transit are bad. You know, so, I mean, that's just the way of the world because if you get on here and you go here, you've got to ride all the way back around to get back to where you started from.
Right.
And so loops are bad. And so I think we need, if we're gonna maintain entertainment shuttles, we need to really think about what those alignments look like and, you know, who's riding, what is the typical tourist need? Or you're right, we reallocate those funds somewhere where we get better utility.
And I think the signage is huge. I think the signage in Long Beach is great. I mean, we have high visibility. You can't miss the signs to the point where people are taking them. So we have to change our budget. I think we also
Think
changed
about that, they're putting that in their, theater room or something.
somewhere. Oh, I think I don't want to say we value engineered them this year, but we probably valued, I think we probably valued engineered them this year. We need to go back to the original, because they were hardcore the first year. I think we had like, we put them up and there was like a storm the first week and they didn't go anywhere. And so we had to replace them like twice this year. We had to put like
Yeah,
a good 20 out
We had-
twice.
14 of them left.
Yeah. And in Myrtle Beach, you can't see them unless you're looking for them. And there's not a lot of flexibility in terms of where they go. I've tried, I've even taken the big one to, zoning and planning. They were thrilled. To show them the sign that we use in Myrtle Beach, and that was just literally out of the question. So,
I think one problem that we have is that, you know, now it's September or it will be in a few days, or it's now, I mean. And then we let it go until like January, February, when when we decide we have to do it one more time and see what, you know, maybe it'll get better. Maybe we'll have more signage, maybe we'll have more ads and whatnot. But I think I'm gonna get together with you, Brian, and Lauren or whoever needs to be and start. I'd like to see a timeline of when we're gonna decide this and not wait until February when we are up against it and need to move fast.
second that.
I mean, if we need to change something big, let's do it. You know,
Certainly,
we're not doing it.
moving towards a sign that's got a hinge in it. You know, so we can fold them up when service isn't, you know, it's one possibility, but those aren't very big. So, yeah, we need to
Yeah.
really think about kind of what we're doing with that.
And I don't know if they would allow us to do that.
Is it the hinge thing?
They want those puppies down,
They were doing,
my understanding.
Yeah, but they're on other people's poles. They're on our pole.
having the trolley in the two parades we have. This last parade, I rode in the golf cart behind that we threw out the candy. And I heard people saying, oh, we have that runs, and they were telling somebody next to them, a lot of people were talking about the trolley or the bus system, you know, where I never heard that before.
Unintended, we have a lot more traction in North Myrtle Beach. For sure.
We may have to split the credit on because when the city of North Myrtle Beach said something about, why don't you participate in our parades? And we were like, we're always in your parades, but we're under the Pilot Club. And they were like,
No, we mentioned that.
But it was how they have it was kind of a joke.
But it's always mentioned, the first thing
Yes.
because I have to write up something under there, and I say the pilot ladies are being carried in the Coast Guard.
I was just teasing because in the system, they have you guys as like the Pilot Club. Because,
yeah,
but it's
oh,
just
yeah.
a joke. It was
No,
kind of
we
kidding.
had an announcement last year, and I made a copy of it, and I think I sent you a copy of it, that the person that was given the news said he didn't know they had a bus system in North, or a trolley in North Myrtle Beach. And he's telling the news.
Every time I heard that.
Well, I think what we need to do is, do it in regular meetings, we can do it in a ad hoc committee or something, but, make sure we have this thing under control. Spending a lot of money.
Get these data for you. But
The rest,
since we changed this format, I haven't been getting none.
they're in the board report.
Yeah, yeah,
Page 14.
yeah, and maybe it's
Steve.
It's deep.
But it's in there.
On my phone.
I'll print some out for you here.
Thank you.
It would be instrumental in this, yeah.
I do, but I'm gonna check them. I mean, they are so consistent, Nick.
Well,
I mean, you put a bus out in this system, it's gonna get anywhere from 12 to 15. It's incredibly consistent. More consistent than any other location I've been in. I'm not, so either the drivers can hit the button enough times, by heart, or, they're out there counting the same people, those types of things. So,
It's got a lot less than it was 4 years ago. And I like this, we want to check on the overall tourism. Yeah.
23,
Anything
20,
pre-COVID is gonna be, I mean, COVID really changed the tourism industry here
right.
significantly.
And we're exceeding pre-COVID numbers on our regular routes,
Right.
not on the entertainment shuttle, but everything else, it's kind of gone up. And we did see the dip from 23 to 24, but that's because we took hours out of the system. Went to 15, we added 15 minutes to the frequency on 7 and 15 south, so.
Haven't you noticed when they do advertising?
And those are coming
about
back.
people, They always build it up. Especially Myrtle Beach, they built it up and saying there's more people coming in now than.
Oh, yeah, they've done that for years, yeah, but I think when I have noticed for years, when they downplay it, it's bad. It's not bad, it's, public relations 101,
Well, they-
shiny red ball over here. But I mean, it didn't take they had significant, they made the national news 3 times before Memorial Day weekend was even over, I think this year. I mean, it was not a good PR year for us, unfortunately.
Well, let's take a look at this, and we can do it in service tack, or we can do it in an ad hoc committee, whatever we need to do.
Well, maybe that's enough, once staff gets our act together, that warrants a separate meeting, separate conference.
I agree.
We can kind of bring that back. So Georgetown, I can't remember if I mentioned this on the last meeting or not. Probably would have been able to pick that up if I'd looked at the minutes. But I've been running around. Got a letter from the city of Georgetown, basically asking us to move our stop on Lynch Street there in downtown Georgetown, where the 2 routes meet. Basically our de facto transfer center in Georgetown. And they attached 2 city ordinances, which basically outlaws loitering, lingering, staying in one place for too long. And then a second ordinance that doesn't allow entities to maintain that nuisance. So they're effectively blaming us for the loitering at the Family Dollar, which has vacated those premises. We've since found out that Family Dollar owns that premises, and they moved out of their own building, which I thought was interesting. And it's really coming from the police department down there. One thing I will say is the city is completely new. There's new people pretty much everywhere. New police chief, new city administrator. And so I don't think that they have the complete history of kind of what happened with it. The city actually placed those shelters for.
They put them there.
Right. So I wrote them one of my famous long letters, and I've since put these files in today's folder. If you go into the meeting folder, you can go and take a look at this. I don't want to get down too far in the weeds, but basically that I don't think that the ordinance applies to us for 2 reasons. One, we can't control the people who are riding our bus. We're a public system. We can't not take somebody to Georgetown because we think that they're going to be loitering. So we're certainly not maintaining that on purpose. And 2, moving the stop at this time would be incredibly difficult for us. We located one other site, which is down 521, so down High Market Street, headed towards Andrews. It's about a 7/10 of a mile down the road. And it would basically be utilizing the city's parking lot where they have their public works, and you can go pay your power bill, the electric co-op bill. I don't think they want us there either, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I told them that, and I basically said, though, with all this being said, we're not doing our job by monitoring the stop. We're not down there on a regular basis, and when we do get some complaints about people, taking up spaces in the shelters, and the police down there have said that, they've had at least a couple of crimes related to somebody who got off the bus. Because they used our video to identify the perp.
The perp was not our bus rider.
Well, the perp was our bus rider in that one instance, but they'd had 230 calls in the last 20 months. One that they could identify that came off the bus. And so after this meeting we had with the city administrator and the chief, we went over there. This was me, Doug, and Casper. And there were 12 people sitting at that general area. 2 were in the shelter. It was hotter than all get out that day. And they were sitting in the shelter waiting for the next bus. One of them had a bike with them. And there was 10 that were kind of cooped up underneath the awning in front of the Old Family Dollar, drinking beer and having a good time. And none of those folks were going to be riding the bus. And so I put that in the letters, like, look, we don't think these are our people, but we need to do a better job of monitoring the situation. So we have instituted checks, supervisory checks down there on a regular basis, at least every other day, different times of day. We've instructed staff to let the police know if there's people loitering there so that we can start making it a little bit more uncomfortable for people who are just sitting around. And so in the meantime, we want to start, we have some money for a planning project to look for a permanent transfer facility, because frankly, that area isn't big enough to add a third route, which is what our intent is to do in the city of Georgetown, is to add a third route, have 3 buses meeting there on a regular basis as opposed to just 2. And that we would want the city and the county to be part of that process and help us find something.
When you came back last month, you had a meeting with them, or you talked about a meeting you had with them, and your description was it did not go well.
Well, the police chief was pretty set on blaming us
Well,
for the issue. And to the fact that he said on October 31st, he was going to go out there and cut the shelters down himself.
so have we let them know that we want to work with them and we
That's
want,
what the letter says. That's exactly what the letter says. I said, look, we've identified one other location that would be difficult for us to serve, but we could serve, but we don't think you're going to like it. Just down the street. We'd rather stay where we're at and do a better job of monitoring it, and we need the police's help to make it uncomfortable to wait there.
yeah, enforcement is their problem.
Monitor the people that are sitting under the awning drinking. It's
Well,
not the police.
well, we should, if they are prohibiting our customers from getting on the bus or making it more difficult for our customers to wait for the bus.
And if they're loitering, then we should need to deal with them.
Exactly.
Our Georgetown City rep is online.
He joined us.
Or they-
I'd like to see what Elijah's our Georgetown City.
Good morning, everybody.
Do you have anything to add to this conversation, Elijah?
Well, from just what I've picked up on the half of the last little few minutes when I joined, but yeah, the main issue there, it's become a primary loitering spot for, and actually I'm half a block away from it, heading back to the branch. But yeah, it's become a primary loitering spot for people who have nothing better to do than just sit out there, yak with each other and drink ice houses. So I agreed, if we get the drivers reporting it more to the police and make the police do their job and get the loiters out of there, I think that problem itself will be solved. The police just knows, and when I was on the patrol, they used to be more closer to the Piggly Wiggly than actually in the in our shelters or in that area. But the police know they shoo them away from one area, they're just going to go congregate somewhere else. And for us, if they're away from the shelter, that solves our problem, but it doesn't solve their problem. So that's why they don't really act the way they should, because they just don't want to deal with continually chasing them off.
Well, and in Elijah's defense, I just emailed you this package of all the stuff, my letter, their letter, the ordinance. And in very short order, we need to get down there and follow up on my letter, because I've not heard back from them
Okay.
on it. But in the meantime, I've got staff who will be sending me emails, giving me short reports on what they saw. Drivers are instructed to let us know if there's other people there who aren't getting on the bus and just standing around. We want the police to understand our schedule better, because if somebody's there at 9:45, they just missed a departure, and are they really waiting for the 11:15 or, whatever, but,
Right.
Our driver safety, what you're recommending, our drivers do not engage anyway with the loiterers. They report to the police.
just send it to us. They send it to supervisors, and the
Correct.
supervisors don't want it.
Get beat up or
Right.
anything.
And so
Yeah.
the one other thing is that we did chat with the manager at the Piggly Wiggly, who let us know that Family Dollar owns the building. And we are going to track down the owner to see if it would be possible to put mount cameras and get power from them for those cameras.
Cool.
And then the other thing I will say is that if we were able to extend that stop down Lynch Street and get it completely off street, that Family Dollar building might be a spot for transit center. It's got bathrooms in it. That's something that we could renovate, and I don't want to cook the books on our planning project, but that would have to be an alternative to be looked at. And
Right.
sort of increase our presence, lighting, and then when that happened, we would have staff down there, during business hours.
We have a loitering issue with our Ivory Postal Transfer Center. How do we do? I was saying,
Well, that was the thing. We heard that there was 200 calls in 20 months. I was like, 200 calls, we get that in a week in Myrtle Beach. It's like, we're city police is over there all the time, and it's bad. And to the point where I think I have them convinced that putting an officer in our new one, during business hours is gonna make a lot of sense. And just having a presence there would help. And I would do the same in Georgetown. We make space so that they can come and do reports, and just have a uniformed person there at all times. It's gonna be huge for, at least removing the loitering from that location. I think Elijah's right. We're just gonna move the problem. It's not gonna just go away. And I tried to make that point as gently as I could. Whether or not the police chief wants to hear it
Do
remains to be
do
seen.
they really want bus service there? Are they interested in bus service?
Who's they?
Well, the administration people
Oh,
you're
yeah.
talking to.
No, I
really.
think so. I mean, I think this is a
think that
problem that's been raised by the police department.
Yeah,
The city administrator, wants us to move, because the police won't let them move. But what the police don't understand is that these aren't necessarily our folks. If we were to move, that core group sitting in front of the Family Dollar would stay there. So
they have to, police have to understand that they need bus service there.
right. So we'll see. Anything else on Georgetown? Just wanted to keep you guys up to speed.
Thank you.
All right, facility update. Those of you may or may not have seen that we have Span outside, who was doing another patch job on our roof. I don't know if I was being over dramatic or what, but I was really worried that they were gonna tell us that they needed to replace the roof, which would have been a non-starter. We're not to put too much lipstick on this pig, as it were. But they have given us a very reasonable price for fixing the roof leak. They're up there doing it today. They're only gonna charge us about $5,000. Thanks to Mashburn Construction for mobilizing as quickly as they did. I think they're very interested in doing our construction for our new facility, so they helped us out.
Part of Span, part of Mash.
Span is a sub to Mashburn.
Now we had a roof put on because I
We've had a repair not that long.
2014 maybe?
14 years?
2014, so 11 years ago.
14.
But I don't think they did much here. The room that we're in right now is part of a building that was added to this after the original construction. If you were to go into the kitchen in here, there's a cinder block wall right next to a brick wall, the brick wall being the original building. So they basically built another building right next to it. And then they matched the roof. So there's two domed roofs that meet right on this wall. One of the walls went in one direction, the other wall went in the other direction and created a nice little hole.
Well, originally this room was not here because
Right.
it was,
Right. This was in the,
because we used to go to the bank building next door
Yeah,
and that's where we would have our meetings.
so they've given me, I haven't seen the warranty yet, but they're telling me this is a 3 to 4 year fix. Which is all I asked for, is like, if it's gonna be any more than that, and it's gonna be, a big number, then we're gonna try to look for a temporary facility. And I will tell you that that's still gotta be on the table. We should hear, on our big grant, later this week. I think the awards are due on Friday. So I'll be thinking about that a little bit. If we are awarded, we may fight it here. We can fast track things down at Crescent Parkway. If we don't get it, then we're gonna have to figure out a different way to fast track Crescent Parkway, but we will probably need some temporary quarters. What that looks like, I have no clue. I thought about it. The big problem is fueling. We fuel here on site. And if we've got maintenance already up the road, that costs us, 6 miles every time we send a vehicle out there. We were to put operations, say we put a temporary facility on Grissom Parkway site or, somewhere between here and there, then we've got, whatever that distance times 2 to get a bus out back here for fueling. Or we do mobile fueling, which is gonna increase the cost of fueling. There are some options around having to come all the way back here to fuel. So I don't know what that looks like. But we need to put some thought into it in case, this doesn't work or, it's, the building's done. It's tired. It's been tired.
It's tired 25
It
years.
was tired before I even got here, right? So,
We'll cover the grant and Grissom Parkway later. Agenda.
in what regards, 'cause I think this is as good a spot as any to talk about, answer any questions.
Pessimistic when it's grant. I don't know what house changed in Washington
There's
State.
a surprise.
I mean, what has Russell Fry done to help us?
Not much.
So I mean, I guess they're playing, assume we don't get the grant in the low in a week. Where do we go next? And
So let's talk about that scenario. I think, where we go next is we are getting a loan. I would probably go after what's called a TIFIA loan, which is a federal loan program, that allows us to use future federal revenue. And it allows us to defer payment on it, gives us a prime rate, so it doesn't, we're not paying normal bank rates on the loan. And it gives us the ability to use future federal allocations to pay off the loan, pay off the debt. That's probably where we're going. The problem is that is the biggest mountain of paperwork that you could possibly imagine. So we would need help to do it. It would be really cool if we were able to justify and get approval for a rural TIFIA loan. And the fact that we run rural service, even though it's in the urbanized area, that location, we'd be running rural service. They will actually pay to do the paperwork for you. So that would be my goal. It would have to leverage part of the 5.45%.
What's the term of it?
Term is whatever, 30 years, whatever, a normal kind of mortgage kind of thing. But we would cut into service. There would be some cut into service for us to do it that way, because we would have to, effectively bond some of that 5.45% to pay off the debt.
So you're saying we'd have to cut service or not add new
We
service?
would be not adding new service. It would be slower uptake. So, unless we got help from somewhere else. I mean, there's State Infrastructure Bank. There's not a whole lot of precedent for any transit investments coming out of that, but that would be something we could push for. There are some other ways to kind of do it.
I explain why I'm pessimistic. Okay, the money we're dealing with the budget now is coming down this week. We are a red state. Greenville got a new facility. So Charleston got a little bit, I guess. The pot of money we're dealing with, you have billions of dollars request and this much awarded. And we, as a red state was always the same. Nothing's changed in the pot of money we're playing with right now.
Well, and I think the bigger issue with the pot of money that we're playing with right now, this is 5339 bus and bus facilities discretionary program. But the project that we're talking about is tailor-made. But was under the Biden administration, it was connected to LONO, which is this movement towards lower emissions. And so the only way that we're showing lower emissions is because we incorporated 7 hybrid electric buses in the grant, which raised the grant total $9 million.
In last year's grant too, though.
It was in last year's.
Correct. So 2 years.
But the central problem to the program is that it's $1.7 billion. 1.2 of that is going towards electric buses. It's really, I mean, they just funded buses. The state of South Carolina got 15 million out of it last year or 2 years ago for low emission vehicles. And only 500 million is going towards facilities, which is what our project is really tailored for. My goal and what I told Fry's office and Tim Scott's office and Lindsey Graham's office is call FTA and tell them, look, the administration is less about electric vehicles now. You know, and I made sure in that conversation, I said, I don't mind electric vehicles. We've got routes out there that are tailor-made for an electric bus. They come back to the transit center and get a 6-minute charge and keep on getting it all day. But we can't deal with an electric bus until we have this facility. And so change the mix, change the funding mix, which would be within the regulations of the bipartisan infrastructure law. Split it down the middle. Give us, 800 million versus of facility money and 800 million of. That's what I told them to do. They weren't prepared to call up DOT and say you need to fund this. And they're always worried about congressional districting and balancing. I mean, transit is such a small piece of the overall puzzle. They weren't really willing to go to bat on it. So we'll see. It's our 5th year in the program. They've seen it every year. It's gotten better every year we've submitted it. We technically have 1 more year under the BIL. And so we'll see. We'll go after it again next year.
Well, you're already looking for other sources of funding, which is realistic. I like to be able to do that, but pragmatically,
There's no doubt we got to get out of this building. So we're gonna have to start addressing drastic measures. And the only other thing on Grissom Parkway I had is that the legal process is still going on. I haven't really had much movement. But we are in negotiations on final price. So we're hopeful that final price will occur and we will not have to actually go to court. And I think, this is just me talking, we're close enough to where we won't have to. And so we'll see how that goes.
how much more money do we think that's gonna be?
We're gonna need to find $1 million to $1.2 million in additional cash.
Most of that is a result of,
On trees, so don't worry about it.
that's the, most of that is the thing about the different appraisal.
What we originally put into the escrow account versus what we think it
It's not, most of it is not the appraisal differences.
we're about 9% different at this point.
Anything else for
What we
service?
think it should cost versus what they think it should cost.
And that does not include the extra money for the web.
Right.
Anything else for service pack? We're going to
No, I just want to say that facilities update is going to stay on here every month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along. Finance Committee, it's Dr. Keen.
So we have 2 major pieces here on financials, and we're getting close to our fiscal year, so we can see where we're landing here. And then just a quick conversation, I guess, on budget update.
Yeah. I don't have a lot to say as it relates to the income statement. We're still fairly under budget. Was there a question that you had there?
It is 100,000 for van poles.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 84 in FY 25 and it went up to 100 in FY 26. I do think there's some confusion over where we are on revenue. And I was looking at these numbers and I was trying to justify them in my head. Because this 4.78 million includes sales tax revenues. I think this a little bigger. And so I'm like, well, how are we $1 million over budget on local grants? And I think I put it in the notes. Did I put it in the notes? Trying to remember what I said. It was really a combination of things. One, we've got additional payments from the city of North Myrtle Beach and North Myrtle Beach in July. Basically, their FY 26 dollars that were not in the original budget. So that was to 350,000. So that's 350,000 of our $1 million overage. Road use fees were ahead. We had about 2.1 million. We actually got about 2.4 million in the first 9 months of the year. So there's 300,000.
And those are 26 monies or?
Well, they are to the city. But for us, they're in our 25. Just to make it as confusing as possible. And then we got an extra 49,000 out of the county, Georgetown County. So we're pretty close on those. And so that made some sense. And then the underages, if that, for lack of a better word, on state and federal is that we don't know what we're going to get out of the new 5311 contract. And we haven't really I don't know that we've taken credit for, we recognize some SMTF. In FY 25, we recognize SMTF for July and August. Correct. Right. But in years past, we have pulled as much SMTF as we could, all of the non-federal match for the first couple of months of the contract, which, is technically starts on July 1st. In years past, we've taken as much state money and to cover both the state portion and the local portion of the contract. So, under operating expenses, that's 50% federal. Technically, it's 25% state and 25% local. But in years past, SCDOT let us take all of the SMTF to cover that 50% to spend it down, to be able to onboard the cash. That is no longer doable under the new administration. And so we're only recognizing 25% of that expense as opposed to 50% of that expense. So we did that, do that times 2, and then we spent down all of our SMTF from last year's contract before we got to FY 25. So that's why we're short on SMTF. And then we're short on the federal side because we're not going to be taking credit for April ops under the urban program. We're slow playing the 5307 because A, we don't need it, and B, we're slow on the grant getting it executed. So all told, our revenue's up $376,000 total. And so we're good to go on, revenue versus expenses.
Do you have any word on when the next payment of the RIDE 4 money will be?
It will be in October
It'll be
and it'll be for a quarter.
Okay.
So we're expecting $1.8 to $1.9 million check on October 20th. CCND is counting the minutes. So it's where our,
They give a variance percent on state grants.
oh, yep. Good catch. That's a broken formula. So other than that, it's fairly vanilla. I mean, we're probably a little high on labor. I mostly attribute that to, we're just doing a ton of training. We're trying to get, we're still fighting, turnover and that sort of thing. And so I would probably say we've spent probably 100,000 of that on just additional training.
Future years. The money we used to get, or we're still getting one last payment from Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach. Help us through this time right now, right?
And we've already received
I
those.
already received. Right four is, we fully expect they ain't gonna give us any more money in future years, correct?
Not unless we ask for it, it would be for specific projects, but not for operating.
But if we pulled the plug on entertainment shuttle, when your little work group's gonna work on, we're not getting the money's worth out of that. That's really gonna, I sense sitting here, when I first got here, we didn't want to piss off Myrtle Beach by big cuts, entertainment shuttle, and that's how they viewed why they gave us the money they gave us.
Yeah, no,
Right or wrong, that's what I sense sitting here, but they're not gonna give us any money going forward.
no, because they feel like they're
paying
contributing
it,
big
right?
time to the penny, and I kind of agree with them.
So as we make if we need to make any adjustments to entertainment shuttle, that fear of what the cities may do is less of a player than what it was in past years, my point.
I would say so. I still would talk to them before we cut it. Obviously, we're gonna say, look, this isn't working for us. We've got some ideas on how to make it better, but, we need your help type of thing to see if we can make it better.
Or we can use this money in a better way.
We can use the money in a better way.
Oh, I think make more money on this. Make more money on this. The whole entertainment shuttles when we first started doing it, besides the good public relations and the good chamber and all that sort of stuff. And it comes with having shuttle, like Savannah or. The other thing though is still waiting to see what kind of money we're getting from these people that are from the aquarium, from the upside down. All of the businesses around there that are benefiting from this. Should be giving us, we should be getting a substantial amount from them. My money.
But we're not right now.
Certainly,
But we're not, and the canceling entertainment shut.
Boston, they don't have.
yeah, well, and I think a conversation with the Hospitality Association is warranted. We've had conversations with them in the past. The resort side don't really care about us. They want their people to stay at the resort. They don't want them getting on a bus to go spending their money somewhere else. So it's really the entertainment side that is, got the bigger dog in the hunt, and, we just need to go back and rekindle those relationships and see what we can do to
Back with the
help each
tourism,
other.
money, right now, the way the legislation is, they must spend 80% of an out-of-state advertising, right?
Something like that.
They're right now, they're actively negotiating what that change. They want to keep more money local, which would give the opportunity to do things different than they've done in the past. I'm
Well,
not sure what's going on right now.
Well, and I'm hopeful to hit them up in other arenas too. I mean, I think the Partnership Grand Strand should be funding Vanpool. Because that is all about getting people to work. And we have a new regime there as well, so we're gonna work on that new group. See what they say, because I think we can get some legs on that.
And what about those businesses that are just outside of it, like, I guess medieval times or things like that? Is there thought of?
Yeah, I haven't really talked to them specifically. I mean, you could get there on foot, get pretty close. That's not on the radar for
You
entertainment.
have shelters within walking distance of times.
Hopefully,
That'd be a long walk for most people to medieval times from that bus stop.
from the veterinary clinic, and
I think
maybe,
they only have shows at night too.
In summer, they might.
They'll have
Yeah,
matinees.
then you have a second shift, not get home thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
The only other thing, I don't know if you have anything else on the, is cash requirements. And the one that's incorporated in the document, is one that I sent to CCNB. You can see that this, current line of credit is at 2.2 million, just way more than what I wanted it to be. This is a product of the tardiness of our 5311 contract more than anything else. That's what I mean, I had those payments coming in for July and August coming in late September. And that's not gonna happen, although yesterday I finally got the contract, and I saw Saw some of their folks yesterday at the legislative hearing. And, warned them that I'm gonna send them my signed version of it with 2 invoices. So, we're gonna get that pulled together this afternoon and get those in there, and that's worth about, first one's 190 and the second one's 180, so it's close to $400,000, that we can hopefully onboard as quickly as possible. I only actually pulled 300,000 yesterday, from the line, so we're not quite at the 2.2. But if, we're gonna have to borrow more before we get to that. You could see that we barely make that next, payroll. So, we've got to kind of work around that. We're gonna see what the bills look like and as we're moving forward. But the nice thing is that we have 20 days to fight this, and then we're done fighting it for the time being, because, we'll get that first payment. Just so everybody's aware, the bank wants to do what basically they call a sweep account. So whatever comes in for that, they'll sweep it and pay down the loan. And then, obviously we'd need money back to keep the doors open. So we would just restart another. I think I estimated that to be at 850.
So if that RIDE 4 check comes to us, they have no say over what we do with it. I mean,
Straight to them.
it goes straight to the,
That's an automatic payment to our account at CCMB. And that's on purpose.
That was the process also.
That was part of the agreement to get the line of credit.
I read it in my news.
I'm okay with it. I mean, it just means we re-up it. And from their perspective, it makes it look like it's not an evergreen loan.
Yeah, it makes no difference to us as far as interest or anything like that.
And honestly, we're on track, and we could technically pay it down once the federal grant opens up in November.
I thought you were.
Because we're gonna be able to pull down 750,000 right off the, that day it opens. For all the FY
If
25.
we don't want to be strapped, we'd rather wait a little longer and not be strapped.
Well, what I'm saying is that we will be able to pay down the 850 that we have after they sweep our account. We'll still have about 850 on the loan. We'll be able to pay that down really before the end of the year and not be strapped.
Not have them sweep our account in January.
Not have to, well,
But we're gonna take that.
hopefully, let's see, what do I have? Do I have January in here?
January would be another payment, RIDE 4.
Right, so when that payment hits, we're putting 1.2 million into an O&M reserve.
Yeah.
So that's all on that. I mean, if you can kind of follow exactly how the dollars happen. So we pay that 1.2 million and we still have 470,000 in the bank. We'll not have to worry about cash requirements for
And we only
at
need,
least the rest of my career here at Coast RTA.
and what's 8% of our operating is probably like 850,000.
I don't know, but as I mentioned to the admin committee yesterday, we're gonna try to get to that 16% as quickly as possible, because that's really what it should be, which is 2 months worth of operating.
Right.
And we've got a potential partial shutdown happening at the federal level, which is exactly what that money's there for.
Right, but that 1.2 will certainly cover 8%.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's higher than the 8%.
Yeah.
So it's between the two, yes. So, and I think I had, and, we're estimating about 750,000 going into that in FY 26. Another 750, so we should be over the 16 with that. And then anything above and beyond that, it's just gonna,
It'll be good for us to have it, but yeah, but we're not required.
so if that's okay, I want to go to my conversation with the county,
Okay.
unless you got something else.
Just real quick, so on the CCMB account versus the LGIP, did they come back with the rates that are,
I have not talked to them about that, but we will before that money goes in to the account, because he said he'd be competitive.
Okay.
And so, we'll see. And what Marvin's referring to is that in the conversation with CCMB about the loan, and the other provision of it is that we keep our O&M reserve with them, which is fine.
Yeah.
I said, but I could get 4% at the local government investment pool, and he's like, I will be competitive. So, if we're in a 3.8, range or higher, then we'll be okay.
And then last question, I know we're sort of off of a traditional quarter. Are we okay with, so, and our Horry County payments, our Horry payments?
Okay. I got the down low from Barry on that.
So you know how we're off? It's not a traditional quarter. We were thinking.
Right. Oh, my, okay.
Because the state recognizes the revenue as they receive it. So the money received in July was money that they got in June for May. So we're accrual, their cash. And so the June, July, August payment are monies that they received in July, August, and September. So that, I mean, because we're crossing over their fiscal year.
Yeah.
So that's the reason. So the payment in October will be for funds that we're recognizing in June, July, and August. Okay, so that means we won't be fully reimbursed for FY 25 revenues until that January payment, which will have the September payment in it. Just to keep us on, keep us from falling asleep.
Yeah, but then it'll be, I mean, it'll always be off because of our fiscal
Yeah.
year, but it'll be every 3 months.
And it won't matter to us, because we'll be, So, had a really good conversation with admin committee yesterday. We went through our compensation plan and our budget with really no questions to speak of. I know that Barry was satisfied with their compensation plan, I was kind of concerned about it. I sent him basically the slides I gave you all last month and said, coach me up on what you think council needs to see. And so he was very gracious and did that. And so we're in really good shape, I'd say, with the county. And I'll take that a step further as I had a conversation with the chair, Councilman Servant. And he was concerned about what happens if there's a downturn in the economy. And I said, well, those projections, that 4% projection, 4% growth, is crazy high. But if you looked at the last 15 years where we went through a recession in 2008, 2009 timeframe, we were at 5.6 or something like that. So it's conservative over what the last 15 years have looked like. And I said, but his point was well taken. I said, we should assume maybe 2.5% growth and put whatever we get above that into the LGIP. And so the problem with that, though, as I mentioned to him, is that 2.5% growth on the revenue and 3.5% growth on costs have you kind of doing this. And so we'll just have to keep an eye on it. And I said it during my remarks, and I repeated it to Tyler. I'm concerned that we won't be growing fast enough, that people will see RIDE 4 and say, hey, why aren't you doing more? And so we'll have to really be cognizant of that and make sure that we're putting out there why we're doing what we're doing at the speed at which we're doing it.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a problem, but we don't want too much in LGIP or in reserve. We want to put that money out on the street.
But we're gonna want to be able to bridge the lulls.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going for. And between deferred maintenance and, our service levels right now, we just want to squirrel away as much as we can.
Yeah, and 16% is only 2 months, like we said.
Right.
6 months would be.
I mean, and that was what he was kind of referring to. Shouldn't it be 30%? And I said, well,
Yeah.
honestly, it'll be hopefully more than that.
Yeah.
But we do want to try to set our targets on revenue that are less than what we actually make. So it was a good conversation.
We want to comply with the funding agreement.
Right. And it was a very encouraging conversation. I will say with the right councilman, because I don't
Yeah.
really, in the past, I haven't seen him as he's been indifferent to transit, probably is the best way to.
It used to be the vice chair of GSATs.
Right.
My guy did very well at admin yesterday. You got 0 questions from the council because your comment with the chair was after the meeting was over.
Right.
I sat across the table from Barry Spivey. He was shaking his head, yes, I know. It took me late. You already got him ahead of time, but they were happy with
So we're in good shape from that
I
perspective.
will add at this point, I was gonna say later, but, four of us went to the DOT, subcommittee. I don't know exactly what they called it, and Market Commons,
The legislative hearing on the modernization of SCDOT.
Well, there you go. Ryan spoke, Norman spoke, I spoke, and Daryl spoke. And the head of, Lawrence, PDRTA spoke. And I think we did, we were very well represented. We did a good job, and we were at the scene and on the table, and I think we did a good job, and I appreciate that.
We had a really good cross-section of legislators. It wasn't just,
Amazing.
in fact, it was very few of the local delegation. I mean, a
Yeah,
few,
but a lot of people,
a lot of people from across the state.
Yeah, I think there were 15 representatives.
They got a
there.
vacation tomorrow.
Totally stole my thunder from the GM report.
That's okay.
A couple of,
Anything else for finance?
yes, I have a couple of things. One, we do need to start working in earnest on a CCNB transition, moving our accounts over. I have heard that they now have a coin machine,
Oh,
cost them 16 grand.
good.
Made me chuckle a little
Too
bit.
bad, yeah.
I'm gonna bring them $2,000 worth of quarters later this week. See how it handles, how they handle it. We need to start working on, all of ACH, incoming ACH, like changing Echo, which is where we get money from FTA through automatic electronic transfers. Effectively transitioning out of CNB, which I'll be sad to see them go because we've been with that bank
Yeah.
since the inception. It's a new day and CCNB's been great. And so it'll be good and they'll be a partner moving forward. So that $2.5 million credit line will be available to us for construction type loans or whatever we need it for. So it'll still be there. We are getting ready for year-end close at the end of September. So staff will be busy with inventory and that sort of thing. And then just quick grants. We've already talked about it. Finally got a 5311 grant. It is really for only half of the amount that we were expecting to get. I'm expecting to get an augmentation to that at some point, fairly soon. So it's worth 500,000 in federal funds and 100,000 in state funds. I'm working with FTA. They've got a lot of questions about the bus stop grant the bus stop project that we have and the technology project that are in there. So I'm trying to shore that up. So we did miss the deadline before Tram shuts down. So it will be November before that gets executed.
What's our bus stop program?
Gonna buy some shelters for one particular one, but I sort of expanded that to kind of a system wide so we can work with the cities on improving access and street furniture at multiple locations. But they want specifics. I'm like, I don't know how many we're gonna do, and so I'm working through it.
They won't sit out on a parking lot though for a year.
We will buy them on an as needed basis for that very reason.
A year?
We're not gonna repeat history.
For a year.
I've only been
well,
there-
many,
I've only
many
been here for a year, so.
Many years. Okay.
Many
Are you,
years.
That
anything else?
includes the financing.
Okay. Ad hoc committees, I'm gonna turn it over to Daryl for a compensation committee.
Couple of lead income, Elijah's online, he'll in a
Yep.
moment sort of walk us through. This is the first year we're going to spreadsheet electronic version of the annual eval. Instead of the stubby pencil we've been used to for years and years and years. So he's gonna tell us how easy it's going to be.
Elijah, you're gonna need to share your screen.
Yes. Yeah, I will.
Wait, a couple of the evals, I'm gonna ask if possible, they do back to the 15th of October. The evaluation period doesn't end until next Tuesday, the 30th of September. So between now and the 30th of September, in hopes of reducing the number of don't knows, it's not, didn't know how to answer the question, we put don't know. A couple of things. So one was, we didn't know, one of the questions is, does Brian give us timely feedback handling EEO and sexual harassment complaints? Unless he told us here, we didn't know. our HR manager before 1 October will be giving us a report, a summary of any and all EEO sexual harassment complaints last year and how we were disposed of. We will be getting that in the close email. We're gonna look out for that.
That be yearly or what?
Yeah, for the whole year.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why I don't want to, I want to close out the year, so
Right.
I gave it to the 1st of October. I'm thinking this, I already. Second thing is, people, does everybody, one of the questions is, does every employee have a job description? She showed me every employee who's offered the job, attached to the job offer, which how much money you're gonna make, is the position description. Like you told me, in our, somewhere in here, we can look at every job description anyway, right? But
If you go to the Coast Board Drive, there's a drive that says job descriptions, a folder.
But the question was whether we have PDs, whether every employee has a copy of their PD. She's assured me that they don't get the job offer without attached to it, their job. But that was good to know. So hopefully the number of don't knows will go down because of that. Also, prior to Elijah talking, the other thing is Brian, prior to the 1st of the month, can give us your goals and accomplishments for the year.
Yep.
So, we may be something marvelous the next Monday that you want to include in this year's
Yep.
report.
Got a week left to shore up the accomplishments.
Really, Elijah, thank you very much for joining the conversation with me, but taking this on. There's a lot more involved doing what he's doing than anyway, he's going to tell us how easy it's going to be.
He'd do it in his sleep.
He can.
No worries.
He can.
It'll be, actually, I'm looking at full screen to see what your faces look like, if you're freaking out or not. Doesn't look too bad from what I can see. But so yeah, so we moved the form to an electronic version. Basically, I just took the existing form that was sent to me and made it electronic. So these will be going to your Coast RTA emails because it tags who filled out the form based upon that sign-in. So I'm going to preview it here just so you can see.
When you say it goes
I'm sorry?
to our Coast computer, right?
Correct. You'll get the notification through your Coast RTA email. So if you have not logged into that, or if you're having issues with that, let one of us know so we can help you get into it. But here's what the form's going to look like. It's a simple step through general manager evaluation form, has the current date, and shows the review period is for the 2024 review period. Start now. It's going to take you right through. If you notice, I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Let's see if I can make my text a little bigger. Since I've logged in as me, it populated my name in here in the beginning of the form, but it will go through question 1. Now, every question it's going to ask you, does this question apply to you, is going to be the first thing. We have that, so if there is a NA question, a question doesn't apply to you, that doesn't give it a 0 rating. It takes it out of the average score. So that should actually give a true scoring depending on how you answer them. But if you answer yes, it then asks how satisfied are you?
The does not apply to you is the equivalent of the old do not knows, right?
Correct. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And hopefully there'll be less of those this year than in past years.
Yeah. Exactly. So if the question does apply to you, you hit yes, then it asks you to give your rating. 1, not at all satisfied. 4 is very satisfied. If we put the 4, it logs it in there. You do have, I didn't make this required, but it is there. If you want to elaborate or give some additional comments, you can type that in there. If you're a big long writer, this will continue beyond what is showing there. So don't feel limited by 3 lines.
But if they scored it a 1 or a 2, they must put some comments in there, correct?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. If you're going to give something below a 3, yeah, you're going to have to justify your reasoning for that.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Last
Yep.
year. Yeah, anything 1 or 2, you're required to.
I
We had
guess
0
anybody-
1s or 2s last year, so.
Does anybody ever
I haven't seen it in the 8 years I've been
I
here.
know.
But the ones and twos always do
I
it.
don't appreciate you all talking in front of my back.
Yeah. So these are broken down. If you look at the evaluation form, the questions were broken up into sections. This is the same way. It will present you with the first section. Then once you go through those questions and hit next, then it goes through the next section. So relationship with staff. This was the general statement that was at the top of the section. And then the questions go on. So like I said, it's pretty self-explanatory. Once you get through the form, let me do one that's a no just so we can see what that looks like. And of course,
When I get a fabulous prize at the end, all these surveys I get.
I think you get a nice little smiley face that says, "Hey, thanks for completing it." But I want to get to the end just so we can see what it does look like. Let's see. How many questions were there in this thing?
How this one's going.
34, I think.
Yeah. Well, hey, I can give you one if you want. No. Yeah. You can also see down there at the bottom, it does show your progress. So page 5 of 6.
Is there a chance to review at the end, or you just have to be careful what you're doing as you go?
No, it will. Yeah, it will let you review. Let's see. Okay. Maintain. Da, 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 da. All right, so that's the last one. You do have the option if you want a emailed receipt of your responses, you can tick that button and it'll send you an email. Once you hit the submit button, oh, I went through all that and I'm in the preview. It will say complete, and then it, which you guys won't see, but Daryl and I will, it will send that response to us showing that the form has been completed. And then we can view the responses and it will put them together in an Excel spreadsheet where we can average the totals up. So the Excel spreadsheet will basically become that top page that has all our names and the average scoring. That will be done on that part of the form. But you guys, as just submitters, that right there was the form in a nutshell. I think we went through it in about 5 minutes. Went through all the questions. And you can, if you start it and you have to go do something else or something else comes up and you come back, you can pick right up where you left off. So you can see up here, it's showing that it's saving my work as I'm doing it. So as responses,
It comes to our cost email. When we first got these iPads, I have trouble finding, I kept going down to the email icon at the bottom of the screen. It's not Outlook is where you've been getting this email. So it took me several weeks to figure out that I was looking in the wrong place. So Outlook.
correct. Yeah, correct. I'll send that out. Are we good to go ahead and send it out now? The form's live. I can set dates or not, but I'll
And- Since he spent a lot of time building this, in fairness to you, I will watch, as we get closer to October the 15th, Elijah, I will follow up with the people who haven't, of the board who hadn't answered yet. You got a real job. So I'll track
Yep.
down, encourage them to get done. If you need more time, there's nothing magic. We got to get them done. But if you're having trouble getting done by the 15th, let me know.
Do, but,
It's
yeah,
not on the list. It always goes to my personal email.
I'm Candace, try to get you set up. If not, we're gonna send somebody to your office and get you set up.
Okay.
yeah.
I remember you giving it back to us and
I
we never
think
did
the
it.
first
I don't
meeting
think
I
we did
did in
that.
person and I did something, but I've never used the email.
Okay.
I've got a. I have the same.
It does help that you plug it in and you sign into it from time to time, but we took yours back.
Yeah, 'cause I
Yeah.
You haven't been here.
No.
You've
I
been
didn't.
virtual every time.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
We'll get that fixed.
Okay.
Okay, you want-
Good.
Your signs are really good. Signs.
Anybody else have any questions for Elijah? Thanks, Elijah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very
No
much.
worries.
Thank you, Darrell.
No worries at all. So I did send that out, so you guys should be seeing that. I think you'll be able to access it either via Teams or Outlook. I told it to go to both. So whichever you feel more comfortable with using. So. Ooh, that looks like fun. Did someone not see a low pass sign?
Very much. Starting in line.
Lunchtime there, people could get it.
There was brunch.
During the first, I was there when I got out there, yeah.
There's boats and stuff.
Yeah, okay. People know about that.
I hope so. You ready for the GM report?
Yes.
Just a couple of quick things. We already really talked about the legislative hearing session. I thought it was very well attended. We had probably 50, 60 people there. We had 20 or so legislators, so it was really good. It's my understanding that the,
Order.
uh, Bruce Bannister, who is from the Greenville area, is the House Home Speaker. He's like the number one ranking rep in the State House. He was at the meeting yesterday, which I've never met him, so I wasn't sure what he looks like, but that was really good. Our Greenville folks watched the show, watched the session online, and thought we did a great job. And we really followed up a lot of what was said in their session that they held in Greenville a couple weeks ago. The group is headed to Beaufort next, I think, and then they're doing one in Charleston. They've had a couple in Columbia, so. Task is mobilizing and we're making sure that transit's getting heard. Trying to do it without being too much in terms of bad mouthing SCDOT, because none of us are really happy with how things are going with that. But the bottom line, as far as the legislature is concerned, and I think, with the the task board conversation, there's not a whole lot the legislature can do to fix what's wrong with the Office of Public Transit right now at DOT. But what they can do is kind of force the issue about increasing funding for state funding for transit. So that's what we've been focused on. And thanks so much to Marvin and Daryl and Bernie for taking the time to come and testify. I think it went over great. It was all coordinated. They all talked about sort of different issues. Made my remarks a lot easier. So I appreciate it. And I do think we were heard. I talked with Heather Emmons Crawford after the meeting, and she's like, yeah, you guys, we're hearing it loud and clear. So that's all we can hope for, whether or not they're able to act on it. We'll see. So we did get our 5311 contract, at least the beginnings of it. So we're going to be able to hopefully get that money flowing. We are working very hard on OPT to keep the money flowing, even though we know they have a lot of FTA issues. I was putting it lightly. But that's good news. I asked Jen Necker, who's the deputy secretary that has transit, was that on purpose? Did I get my contract 20 minutes before we were going to this legislative? And she said, no, it was just coincidental. And I guess I believe her. So, but I was glad to finally have it. So we're going to get that rolling today. Paratransit service. We've been killing it. We are using 13 vehicles routinely, and I don't know that we have 13 vehicles available. So that means we're hopping in one of the Durangos or picking them up in a longer vehicle and so I've been hammering on them to give me stats to show that we need a higher number of peak vehicles, which means we need to increase the fleet size. That's really what we're talking about. Doesn't help that we have incidents like this one that you see pictured here. And that's a double whammy because that cutaway also is used in fixed route. And I will preface this was done in the Dunkin' Donuts parking lot. And you'd be surprised, the number of times we've dinged overhangs with these buses, but they are a lot taller, than we give them credit for. The Ford Transits, the smaller versions of these are almost as tall. So we've been really harping on drivers. My next State of the Coast will definitely include this picture to show people, this vehicle, has met its useful life. So it's got over 300,000 miles on it. So we got pretty good life out of it, but we did total it. So it's no longer available for service. It's going to Don's Car Crushing, along with the Nabbies, the old DART buses. So we're gonna say goodbye to them. Like saved our bacon back in 2015 and lasted a lot longer than we'd hoped that we'd need them to last, but we're gonna be saying goodbye to them here over the next couple weeks.
The Abbey replacements get here in March, right? So
They're,
right now you're running without them at all anyway?
and now that we're past the entertainment shuttle, we can use the trolleys in regular service. So we think we have enough equipment, but the point is that both paratransit and fixed route, we need to really think about expanding our fleet. So we gotta work. And we have plenty of replacements out there that we need to do. And so the paratransit service will be helped. We're about to get a contract from GSATs for 5 small vehicles, 2 of the cutaways like this one, and 3 Ford Transits. And we will preserve some of those replaced vehicles and put them in a contingency fleet while we're working on trying to expand the fleet. But before I get away from paratransit, I'm going to put her on the spot. Sarah, every time I talk to Sarah, she's always got something exciting going on over at SOS, and just landed a grant, and that's all I'll say. Let us know what you were thinking about with that.
Yes, so we applied for funding to be able to train the people that are moving independently at Oak Tree Farm and some of our other adults, and how to use the actual bus lines instead of using paratransit, because we're in the mountain. That's us. And we have 50 more people living in the Oak Tree Farm by the new year. So our buildings are going up very quickly. And I know we're your biggest customer probably, right?
25% of our paratransit trips are SOS clients,
Yeah. So we have.
including my daughter. I guess she's not technically an SOS client, but we have a lot of folks in the autism spectrum who are using our system.
Yeah. Which has been very effective, and they're great. We have 50 people going to work every day from Oak Tree Farm, and many of them are taking paratransit. So they wouldn't be able to work without it, so it's been a lifesaver for most of them. The grant funding we received will pay for fares. I think there's 17 grand or something like that in there for actually paying for the fares. And then probably about the same amount for paying for a trainer. That one of our team will train our adults on how to get on other buses and learn how to use the routes correctly, so that we can try and push them in that direction, more than just using paratransit. So.
When we, that's music to our ears because,
Yes.
like I said, it's
I know that's big.
going from a $50 per trip rate to a $10 or $13 trip rate on a fixed route.
Yes.
Sounds a lot nicer. So,
Up in our neighborhood.
and there's a bus service there. So
There is.
So, yeah, so they could get to, like, a lot of them work at CCU. And so that's a fairly easy trip, but it does require a transfer here at the transit center. So that's just, you need to be trained up for that.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that we talked about was, giving them the ability to pay their fares and bringing back that idea of a tappable card. So, I've been asked to be on an advisory board with Carolina Trust Credit Union. And that's a program the reason why I'm on that board is that's a program that we discussed with them a couple of years ago, and they're very interested in trying to do that. So we're hopefully going to marry the two and we keep on getting it. So it's really a exciting phone call and I'm looking forward to doing our part on that. So, and yeah,
I know we're tough customers sometimes. They change their mind on the day.
Well, you people are citizens, you know, they deserve
They do,
transit.
they do. Yeah. And it's working well for them.
so the last thing is, there's been a change to our rider app. The ride system app is going away, and we'll be moving to the, Transloc app, which is the company that bought Ride Systems maybe 4 years ago.
Actually already moved over.
I'm sorry?
It's already moved over.
Right, it's already moved over. Which is really kind of irritating that we've spent 4 years with Transloc and we're just now getting an upgrade to our thing. So, and I was looking, that app has got like a 2.6 rating. So I don't know if it's a step forward or not. We don't really have much of a choice. They're no longer supporting our old app. It sounds like it's got a few bells and whistles. I don't have a lot of experience on it yet. But you've got to go, there are a number of ads floating around on the buses and hopefully we pushed out notifications with the app users and
Yeah.
Bernie, have you downloaded the new one?
No,
Okay.
it's like in the app store kind of thing.
Well, we have a
We
QR
have
code that
signs
you
on the
can
doors
take a
with
picture of and
QR codes.
And how about the next bus? Is that gone too?
I don't think that affected the next bus, but I'll find out. Is that what you use more than anything else? Yeah, it uses the texting.
We have billboards out. We ordered like tear-offs.
I didn't even notice it. I guess I haven't been looking for it.
Little tiny ones?
Yeah, we got,
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
no, we've tear-offs for the new app too.
Oh,
Although I'm not, I've gotten that to pick them up, but sometimes the guys pick them up for some other reason. So, but we did have them, all of the buses have multiple signs. We had like actual, not paper signs made and static planes. First, and they all have the QR code, also on the website, it's also on Facebook, it's also on the billboards. Just hit the QR code and they'll take you to download the new app.
will you send Bernie the link, text him the link so we'll get to it. So that concludes the GM report, unless there's some questions.
I wanted to talk about the AI issue. And we don't need to talk about it this month because there's no issue this month. I personally don't think there's an issue. I think people who are on AI can do what they.
We have meeting videos discussion under old business.
Okay, great.
Let's talk about it there.
All right, anything else for the GM?
Yes. Discuss A1,
AI.
AI.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that under old business.
Okay,
All right, old business. Anybody have old business?
thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so I think
Because last month, three of us,
you got an email
right.
alerting you
And
that,
it came out on my phone, my iPad and my computer.
okay.
And I would rather not have it.
We'll work on that part of it.
What was the other part?
So were you online though? Were you,
No, I was not.
you were here, weren't you?
I was sitting here and when I got home, I went in and it was on my iPad, it was on my computer. It was the minutes of the meeting. Minutes. They came from your friend. Well, whatever.
Oh.
And it was sent to, and it was sent to.
Everyone
me.
invited on. the
It was sent to, Billie Jean and it was sent to Elijah.
I didn't get it.
I know, I sent a copy.
Yeah, I got it from you, you know.
Okay.
No, it just said on the top, it was sent to the three names.
Do we have the videos posted somewhere? Okay, so the videos for the past meetings back to October of 24 are online on the website.
Yes, if they're on the, good sharing screens.
And I believe I said a
can
couple
share
to
it?
you, didn't I?
I don't know.
I think
I
so.
don't know. I don't think it's a huge deal, but,
No, it isn't, but
but-
I don't.
but we're going to fix it. So
I have done some research, that I hope that we can kind of table and discuss. And I have talked to the city of Myrtle Beach and the city of Myrtle Beach. Just in kind of some thoughts, and if Elijah's here, he may be able to kind of chime in as well too. Because I think I know, I have some, and since then I have gotten, like if I know I'm gonna be in a call or a meeting, I've gotten notices ahead of time saying this call will be recorded, please agree. So while we were in the process of getting the videos uploaded to the website, which is, you can find them all on the website under the meetings.
did you want to share?
I'm good at multitasking at my currently, so. My team's call. If you go to the website, I can send you the link.
Line, just go to the website.
Go to the website, it's under meetings and, so I'm not multitasking.
Well, I was concerned, if it had been sent to everyone, I can understand, but I was concerned mine was just sent to the three of us.
Yeah, well, I got it. I don't think it's just the three of you. I mean, AI has a thing in there where if you
A little
Can't
note
attend-
taker.
I was
Yeah.
here.
and it does, well, I'm saying that person who could not attend the meeting, in this case, it was Robert Pulowski.
Yeah.
He sent his AI bot to go in and take notes. Um,
And I think what the issue is, from what I've talked to some of the other local municipalities, is that we're giving out the general public access to our internal teams account. So it's secure to Teams, but it's internal to CoStar TA. So we're basically, there's one thing to invite a board member to participate on a link if like you're virtual. It's another thing to invite a member of the public. And then now there's just a trust factor. I don't know what the legalities are. I'll let Elijah talk to that in a minute. But in the process of doing all of the updates to Brian just had them, but
yeah, it was
all the updates to the
show how to get.
videos, they needed to be hosted somewhere because they couldn't host, they were too big of a files to host on our website. So what we did was we created a YouTube channel, CoStar TA YouTube channel, so that they could host all of our videos. So all of our videos we have, and I am still Gen Xing my way through a very Gen Z product. And I am, fortunately, we have Bella, who is an intern. She's gonna kind of help me. With my 15-year-old dropping a hot potato. So all of the videos will be posted on our CoStar TA YouTube channel, which future focus can do a lot of stuff. We can host all of our videos on there. We can host commercials on there. We can use that just as kind of like a content engine for us. So people are looking for some of the reels that we'll be doing, some of the digital stuff that we'll be doing.
How to use paratransit video.
How to use paratransit videos. We can link them back and forth. What's also really exciting, what is what some of the municipalities are doing is they host, they live broadcast their board meetings. So that also creates a layer of protection. So for instance, like if we want to, if Sarah or Marvin didn't want to come to the meeting, we would send them the meeting link on our Teams to participate in the meeting, as we always have. But members of the general public either have to be here in person, or they can come in, they can watch on our YouTube channel. And if they have a public comment, they just have to, at the beginning of the meeting, register their name and whatever we ask them for. And then they can either ask a question during the public comment, or they can type it in the chat. I think it gives us a layer of protection so that they're not like interfacing directly with our internal teams. Which I think, in my very unqualified opinion,
He's giving us 6 disclaimers.
yeah, it gives us a layer of protection so that somebody's AI isn't interfering with our internal teams. I'm content with that from a PIO standpoint and my, like I said, very unqualified. So Elijah, I don't know if how you feel about that. I know we don't have a policy. That's just kind of what my informal.
everything you said so far sounds fine.
I will say though, when I clicked on the watch the video, it is asking
Yeah.
me to sign into YouTube.
Okay,
It's showing that video is private, so we may need to make those public
okay.
But,
on the
but I
YouTube channel.
wasn't, and then anything here.
But you were invited to the meeting.
Your email.
So it was sending, and sending an email to your invite. That's all. It wasn't that you were signed into the meeting itself. It's that you were invited to the meeting.
Right.
One of the members.
And when we invite you to the meeting, we're inviting both you via your personal email and your CoStar TA email.
Okay, because
Yeah.
this was on my personal
Right.
email.
Which
And
we need to
there's
get
no
away
way They
from.
can get in
Yeah.
and read any
Right.
of my email.
Oh, no.
No.
I will say too, if you join the meeting from your CoStar TA email or email and account, we don't have to let you into the meeting because you're part of the domain. But if you like, if I was to join with my Method SC, my personal email, I would sit in the lobby and someone would have to click allow me in. Versus if you're signed in as a CoStar TA, you hop right into that meeting because they know you're internal. Just FYI.
I don't understand why I got up because I was sitting here. So were you.
But that's why, because your email address was on the invite list. Not because
It has
you
nothing to
signed
do
it.
with your actual presence.
Oh, so that's the invite list that Marty sent.
Yeah, but if you send it just to your Coast RTA email, then they would have no way
Well,
to
they
you.
didn't send it.
Yeah, that's what they want to do. That's what they want to change
Yeah,
to.
okay. All right, okay.
So
I
this
just-
issue,
I didn't understand why just 3 people and not the whole board got it.
but it's more than 3 people. It is more than 3 people.
Well,
I'm not sure why not every, I mean, maybe some people have email settings such that it got sent to junk, which is entirely possible, but it was, I got them, so. I think,
because on top of it, it only had the
Right.
3.
so on this topic, I am not that afraid of people using note takers. But I think I like the idea of broadcasting and making people watch that and coming to do public comment. I think that's a good thing.
I'm here to do public comment and not, they can't do it online because they can't enter our meeting.
Right.
I just like the layer of protection that it gives us for teams. So it gives us the flexibility of inviting our people that should be here and gives us a wider audience to people who might want to chime in and watch, but don't, right.
So one thing that I think we need to think about on this is that if we are broadcasting, where's the video coming from? Because in the old days, we were able to broadcast, but we had a camera up there underneath the exit sign up there.
Well,
And I
that,
don't know, we need to check to see if we can let the team's video.
I fully intend to bring in people that actually know what they're doing,
Right.
like,
then we can
somebody
bring
like
in-
Bella and/or,
and
I would imagine there's gotta be a way.
There is.
That's me.
There is.
Yeah, there is.
But I kind of like that because I think it also gives us some, I think people that are interested, it gives them a little bit more flexibility to just chime in rather than say, you know, X, Y, and Z, or I don't know, or always, I get all the time, oh, I wish I could come to your meeting, I never have time, or blah, 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 blah. And the awkwardness and the clunkiness of trying to send somebody a link. And I never really thought about it before, that it is like an internal Teams meeting, like
Right.
a normal, like, Microsoft would never do that. I mean, obviously not Google or Microsoft, but, and it kind of gives that, you know, we're the board, we're the staff, and then external people can see what we're doing. Like, I know that was a concern for Daryl and for Bernie to make sure that the process is happening, but it still gives us, I think, a layer of protection. And then it kind of moves us, I mean, I'm scared when I look at this YouTube channel. I thought I was pretty smart until I saw the studio thing and I was like, oh my God. But I feel like between Candace and I and Elijah, I feel like we can figure this out. We've got all the videos updated. It's actually really cool, some of the functionality that you can do. And I think we'll get a lot more people.
And those videos are from the perspective of this camera right here.
Correct,
How long-
yeah.
How long does it take to get to,
And you
from
can-
YouTube? Timely?
Oh, yeah. Well, right now, I think we have it set, Elijah said, we have it set to private, so I'll have to change that. I also had, we can also code it to like have a completely smooth interface from the website. We can hit, so it doesn't go to YouTube. But I don't want to code it to the old website now that we're so close to the new website. I just don't want to spend the money having him code all of that.
Right.
If we're just gonna go to a platform, I think it's easier to just change the permissions on the,
When will today's
Yeah.
meeting be available? So-
soon as it's, done recording, I can upload it because
Okay.
I also got the, directions.
Depending on how long,
Email.
how big it files.
In
How
past,
to do it.
in past year, was not that tape edited before it was released? Of it? Well, we won't go do that anymore.
Oh, now we need
We
to.
can, if we need to.
I should
Yeah.
have said, pisses me off.
She keeps talking.
You can also, if you're worried about security, we can change the meeting type to a town hall. Teams has that ability when you're creating the meeting. You can choose what kind of meeting it is. And if you make it a town hall, it's actually more geared towards a public interface. That allows, if someone is joining via the meeting, it's more of a question and answer. So they can't just jump in and interrupt the presenter. They actually have a section where they can submit their question and then if the presenter so chooses, give them the option to speak. So that might be an option as well.
I think if we're putting these videos on in a timely manner and they're available, I think we're covered in every way.
Yeah, we don't have to broadcast them, but,
Yeah. I think we're covered.
but that's a good point, Elijah, so we'll need to look in that as well.
So when we wanted to, we could, and just even if there's just, if we wanted to expand some of our opportunities, I think this gives us that option.
In other board situations or council situations, like yesterday, they didn't have it going yesterday. But, everybody at a council meeting, at the county council meeting, has their iPad open to them, and they're all joined in the meeting. So everything that's being shown on the screen is right there in front of them. And so
Right.
to me, that's kind of where we need to go. You all bring your iPads and we're all joined in the meeting. You have to have all your settings such that we don't have multiple microphones going and stuff like that. But then you could see what's going on up here right in front of you. That's really the intent. And as I understand it from BMore, we could use the Teams app for everything. So instead of even sending you an email with today's board packet, I just post it in Teams and you automatically get notified that it's there. And you go to your Teams app, that's one button to push and everything is there. Email, calendar, files, everything. And that is where we need to go. But I think what I would like to do is offer a workshop where we just talk about the iPads.
Exactly.
And it'll require everybody to be here with their iPad. And we can kind of work through some of the issues because we really, 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 really need to get away from using personal emails.
Correct.
Big time. That is opening up your world to FOIA. And I don't want that to happen ever. We make it very a big point to keep our nose clean, but sometimes that stuff just crops up.
Yeah.
So if I try to host something in October, will you all be willing to show up an extra day and we'll make sure that, and you bring your pad? Candace, we need to get Sarah set up on one. She brought hers back and then she's been virtual pretty much every meeting. So we still have her pad. She doesn't have it. So we need to follow up on that. And even if we got to send somebody from Eatmore over there to her office, let's do it.
Yeah, Brian, that's exactly the issue that's happened with IT in 4 or 5 different organizations I've been with.
Yeah.
IT people start their thing, they start doing all their other stuff and they never think like they were used. Like when we had a thing half an hour ago when Laura started her thing, she had me lost on the website. I have a website on mine, the only thing that gets me to is Tracker. So I don't know what website she was talking about. But anyway, that's a great idea, setting
All right.
setting up something.
We'll do that.
Yeah, well, I think that's a good solution for now and maybe forever. And I thank Elijah and Warren and you, Brian.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, any other old business? Any new business? Anything for the good of the order? Any announcements? Make a motion to adjourn.
Hey,
Go ahead. You're
Do you hear anything back from Conway on a new board member?
Not.
They were supposed to call me after the 15th, which was this week.
They met last Monday night.
Yeah, last week, this Monday night, right? This
Yeah,
past Monday, right?
15.
I'll follow up with her today. They were gonna call me after to make sure that they got confirmed. I'll check the,
He had her Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
His daughter's from city.
we check the minutes and just make sure they didn't go.
Let's follow up on, I don't think we've heard from North Myrtle Beach. Looking at you, Marty. Have we heard anything from North Myrtle Beach? We have a couple of others out there.
Or Myrtle Beach.
If we don't have a letter.
Not on a new person. I'm gonna see them tomorrow, so I'll put it back up on their radar. That's it.
Are there any other announcements?
That's months ago.
Yeah,
Every time I see her, she says she hasn't received it.
I sent it to Ryan,
Oh, well, that's why. she
so
hasn't
that's
received
probably
it.
what,
But I need
I'll,
The one that's, has it signed.
I will text him and see where we're at with that. Get it to
I'm
him.
still waiting for it to call. I introduced myself 6 months ago and he's supposed to call me back. He hasn't called yet. I'm still waiting.
Well, I'm sure
He
he's
doesn't even
drinking
know
from
who
a
I am.
fire hose.
I
but,
wanted to introduce myself to let him know who I was, but he doesn't care.
Any other announcements?
Move to adjourn.
Ooh,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is stand.
Thank you, Elijah.
Thanks, everybody.
No problem.
Everybody here and one who's gone, oh, Ron's there and gone.
all right. You guys have a good week.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Take care. Take care.
Thank you, Elijah.
There was more work to like that about, he had to retype every word